What if the most dangerous moment for your brain isn't when you're awake, but while you're peacefully asleep? Every night, millions of people carefully choose what they eat, take medications on time, and even exercise to protect their hearts. Yet almost no one stops to ask a surprisingly simple question: could the way I sleep be quietly increasing my risk of a stroke? It sounds alarming, but the relationship between sleeping position, blood flow, breathing, and brain health is far more fascinating than most people realize. Today, we're going to explore what modern cardiovascular science has discovered, separate myths from evidence, and understand why something as ordinary as your sleeping posture deserves a closer look. Every night, as you close your eyes and drift into sleep, your body begins one of the most remarkable biological transformations it performs every single day. From the outside, you appear completely still, your muscles relax, your breathing becomes slower, and the world around you fades into silence. But beneath that peaceful appearance, billions of cells are working with extraordinary precision. Your heart changes its rhythm, your blood vessels respond to signals from the nervous system, your brain reorganizes information gathered throughout the day, and your circulatory system adjusts to meet the needs of a sleeping body. Sleep is not a period of inactivity. It is one of the busiest and most carefully coordinated processes in human biology. Many people imagine that because they are lying down, their heart has very little to do during the night. In reality, the cardiovascular system never takes a break. Every heartbeat continues delivering oxygen and nutrients to every organ, especially the brain. Although the brain represents only a small percentage of total body weight, it consumes a surprisingly large share of the body's oxygen supply. Even while you are dreaming, millions of nerve cells remain active, maintaining memory, regulating breathing, controlling hormones, and preparing your body for the next day. This constant activity means that a steady and healthy blood supply is absolutely essential throughout the night. One fascinating change that occurs during healthy sleep involves blood pressure. During the deepest stages of sleep, blood pressure normally falls by around 10 to 20% compared to daytime levels. Scientists often call this the body's natural nighttime dipping pattern. This temporary reduction gives blood vessels an opportunity to rest after supporting the body's activities throughout the day. The heart does not stop working, but it usually works more efficiently and with less strain. This nightly recovery is considered an important part of maintaining long-term cardiovascular health. Not everyone experiences this healthy drop in blood pressure. Some individuals have what researchers describe as a non-dipping pattern, where blood pressure remains unusually high throughout the night. Others may even experience a rise instead of a decrease. Over many years, this continuous pressure can place extra stress on blood vessel walls, including the delicate arteries that supply the brain. Tiny injuries may gradually develop inside these vessels, making them less flexible and more vulnerable to blockage or damage. These silent changes rarely produce noticeable symptoms until a serious event eventually occurs. The position of the body during sleep also changes how gravity interacts with blood circulation. During the day, when you are standing or sitting, your heart constantly works against gravity to move blood upward toward the brain. Once you lie down, that challenge changes. Blood becomes more evenly distributed throughout the body. For most healthy people, this adjustment is managed effortlessly through a remarkable network of sensors located inside the heart and blood vessels. These sensors continuously monitor pressure and instantly send signals that help maintain stable circulation despite changes in posture. Your brain depends on another extraordinary protective mechanism known as autoregulation. This process allows blood vessels inside the brain to automatically widen or narrow depending on changing blood pressure. Imagine a skilled traffic controller constantly adjusting the flow of vehicles to prevent congestion. In a similar way, your brain carefully regulates its own blood supply to ensure that every region receives enough oxygen even as blood pressure naturally rises and falls. In healthy individuals, this system works so efficiently that we rarely notice it. However, certain medical conditions such as chronic high blood pressure, diabetes, aging, or vascular disease can gradually weaken this protective ability. Oxygen plays an equally important role during sleep. Every breath you take delivers oxygen into tiny air sacs within your lungs. From there, oxygen enters the bloodstream, where red blood cells transport it throughout the body. The brain is particularly sensitive to even small reductions in oxygen levels. Unlike many other tissues, brain cells cannot store large reserves of oxygen. They rely on a continuous delivery every second of every day. If oxygen levels fall significantly, brain function can begin to suffer within minutes. Most healthy sleepers maintain stable oxygen levels throughout the night. However, some people experience repeated interruptions in breathing during sleep. These interruptions may last only a few seconds but can occur dozens or even hundreds of times in a single night. Each pause may cause oxygen levels to fall temporarily before normal breathing resumes. The body responds by releasing stress hormones, increasing heart rate, and causing brief spikes in blood pressure. Although the person may never fully awaken or remember these events, the cardiovascular system experiences repeated stress over many hours. Researchers have become increasingly interested in understanding how these nighttime changes influence long-term brain health. Rather than focusing on a single dramatic event, scientists now recognize that many cardiovascular problems develop slowly over decades. Small disruptions repeated night after night may gradually affect blood vessels, increase inflammation, encourage plaque formation, and place additional demands on the heart. This growing understanding has shifted attention toward the quality of sleep itself as an important component of overall cardiovascular wellness. The nervous system also follows a carefully balanced rhythm during sleep. Two major branches constantly influence heart function. One prepares the body for action during times of stress, while the other promotes rest, recovery, and repair. During healthy deep sleep, the restorative branch usually becomes more active. Heart rate slows, blood vessels relax, digestion continues efficiently, and energy is directed toward healing tissues. This nightly balance allows the cardiovascular system to recover from the physical and emotional challenges experienced throughout the day. Sleep is also a time when the brain performs one of its most remarkable housekeeping tasks. Researchers have discovered that spaces between brain cells become slightly larger during certain stages of sleep, allowing fluid to circulate more effectively. This process helps remove metabolic waste products that naturally accumulate during waking hours. While scientists continue investigating exactly how this cleaning system influences long-term neurological health, the findings suggest that restful sleep supports the brain in ways far beyond simply reducing tiredness. Hormones add another layer to this remarkable nighttime orchestration. Levels of cortisol, often called the stress hormone, usually decrease during the early part of the night before gradually rising toward morning. Growth hormone increases during deep sleep, supporting tissue repair and recovery. Melatonin helps regulate the body's internal clock, encouraging healthy sleep timing. These hormonal rhythms interact closely with the cardiovascular system, influencing blood pressure, metabolism, inflammation, and the body's ability to maintain healthy blood vessels. Even body temperature changes throughout the night. A slight drop in core temperature helps promote deeper sleep while reducing energy demands. Blood vessels near the skin may widen to release heat, while internal organs continue receiving the circulation they need. These adjustments demonstrate how multiple biological systems communicate continuously, maintaining a delicate balance that protects both the heart and the brain. Perhaps the most remarkable lesson from all of this is that sleep is far more than simple rest. It is an active biological state in which circulation, oxygen delivery, blood pressure regulation, nervous system activity, hormone release, and brain maintenance operate together with extraordinary precision. Every peaceful night reflects countless invisible processes working in harmony, quietly protecting the organs that sustain life and preparing the body for another day. When people hear the phrase dangerous sleeping position, many imagine that simply turning onto one side or sleeping on the back can directly cause a stroke overnight. It is an understandable fear because sleeping posture is something we can change so easily. But science tells a more thoughtful story. Cardiologists and sleep researchers do not usually point to one single sleeping position as universally dangerous for every person. Instead, they study how different positions influence breathing, blood circulation, heart function, and oxygen delivery, especially in people who already have certain health conditions. The important question is not whether one position is good or bad for everyone, but how that position interacts with the unique biology of each individual. One of the positions that receives the most scientific attention is sleeping flat on the back. For many healthy people, this position causes no problems at all. In fact, it may even help keep the spine in a neutral alignment and reduce pressure on certain joints. However, in some individuals, especially those with obstructive sleep apnea, Sleeping on the back can make breathing more difficult during the night. When the body relaxes during sleep, the muscles in the throat naturally become less firm. Gravity may allow the tongue and surrounding soft tissues to move backward, narrowing the airway. This narrowing can make breathing shallow or even temporarily block airflow altogether. These breathing interruptions may last only a few seconds, but they can happen repeatedly throughout the night. Each pause forces the brain to react. Oxygen levels begin to fall, carbon dioxide levels rise, and the nervous system quickly sends emergency signals to reopen the airway. The sleeper may briefly wake without remembering it, take a deep breath, and then fall asleep again. This cycle can repeat dozens or even hundreds of times in severe cases. Although these awakenings are often too short to notice consciously, the cardiovascular system experiences them as repeated episodes of stress. Every interruption in breathing creates a chain reaction inside the body. The heart rate may suddenly increase. Blood pressure can rise sharply for a short period. Stress hormones such as adrenaline are released into the bloodstream. Blood vessels tighten instead of relaxing. Instead of enjoying several hours of stable recovery, the cardiovascular system is repeatedly pushed into a state of emergency. Over months and years, researchers believe these repeated stress responses may contribute to high blood pressure, irregular heart rhythms, and damage to blood vessels, all of which are recognized risk factors for stroke. This is why cardiologists often pay close attention to sleep apnea rather than simply focusing on sleeping position alone. The position matters because it may worsen or improve the severity of the breathing disorder. In many people with positional sleep apnea, lying on the back causes far more breathing interruptions than sleeping on the side. Simply changing position can sometimes reduce the number of airway blockages, although it does not cure the underlying condition. For others, additional treatments such as weight management, oral devices, or continuous positive airway pressure therapy may be necessary to keep the airway open throughout the night. Side sleeping has gained attention because it often helps reduce airway collapse in people with sleep apnea. Gravity no longer pulls the tongue directly backward, allowing air to move more freely through the throat. Many people snore less when sleeping on their side, and oxygen levels may remain more stable throughout the night. Better oxygen delivery allows the heart and brain to receive a more consistent supply of the fuel they need. Stable breathing also reduces sudden surges in blood pressure, allowing the body to spend more time in its natural restorative state. Even so, side sleeping is not a magical solution. Scientists continue studying whether sleeping on the left side or the right side offers meaningful cardiovascular advantages. Some small studies suggest that body position may slightly influence how the heart fills with blood or how certain organs are positioned within the chest and abdomen. However, these effects are generally modest in healthy individuals. At present, there is no strong scientific evidence showing that one side consistently prevents strokes better than the other for the general population. Researchers are careful about making broad recommendations because human biology is remarkably diverse. A sleeping position that benefits one person may not be ideal for someone else. For example, individuals with certain heart conditions may naturally feel more comfortable on one side because it changes the sensation of their heartbeat. Pregnant women are often encouraged to avoid prolonged flat-back sleeping later in pregnancy because the growing uterus can compress major blood vessels. These recommendations are based on specific physiological circumstances rather than universal rules. Another sleeping posture that receives occasional attention is sleeping with the head slightly elevated. Raising the upper body by a small angle may help some individuals breathe more comfortably, particularly those with acid reflux, nasal congestion, or mild breathing difficulties. Elevation can sometimes reduce snoring by helping keep the airway more open. Improved airflow means oxygen levels are less likely to fluctuate dramatically during the night. While head elevation alone is not a treatment for serious sleep disorders, it may provide additional support for some people when combined with other healthy sleep habits. The quality of sleep itself also deserves attention. A person may spend 8 hours in bed yet experience fragmented sleep due to repeated breathing interruptions, discomfort, chronic pain, or frequent awakenings. Poor sleep quality has been associated with increased inflammation, impaired blood sugar regulation, higher blood pressure, and changes in hormones that influence appetite and metabolism. These effects do not occur because of sleeping position alone, but because healthy sleep involves a complex interaction between posture, breathing, brain activity, and overall health. One reason scientists remain cautious is that stroke is rarely caused by a single factor. Most strokes develop after years of gradual changes inside the cardiovascular system. High blood pressure may slowly damage blood vessels. Cholesterol deposits can accumulate within artery walls. Diabetes may affect circulation. Smoking can injure the lining of blood vessels. Irregular heart rhythms may allow blood clots to form. Sleep-related breathing disorders may add another layer of stress. Sleeping position becomes one piece of a much larger puzzle rather than the entire explanation. This understanding is important because it prevents unnecessary fear. Some online claims suggest that simply sleeping on your back guarantees a stroke, while others insist that sleeping on one specific side completely eliminates the risk. Neither statement reflects the current scientific evidence. The relationship between sleep posture and stroke risk is far more nuanced. Researchers continue investigating exactly how posture influences breathing, circulation, and cardiovascular function, but they consistently emphasize the importance of considering the person's overall health profile. Cardiologists often encourage patients to pay attention to warning signs that may suggest sleep-related breathing problems. Loud chronic snoring, gasping during sleep, morning headaches, excessive daytime fatigue, difficulty concentrating, or reports from a bed partner that breathing repeatedly stops during the night should never be ignored. These symptoms may indicate a condition that deserves proper medical evaluation rather than simple changes in sleeping position alone. Modern sleep medicine has revealed something remarkable about the human body. The position we choose at bedtime influences much more than comfort. It can affect how freely air moves through the airway, how consistently oxygen reaches the bloodstream, how hard the heart must work, how stable blood pressure remains during sleep, and how effectively the brain receives the oxygen it depends upon. These connections remind us that even the quietest hours of the night are filled with complex biological activity, where posture, breathing, circulation, and nervous system responses remain deeply connected through every heartbeat and every breath. It is easy to assume that if a sleeping position can influence breathing or circulation, then everyone faces the same level of risk. But the human body is rarely that simple. Two people can sleep in exactly the same position every night, yet one experiences no problems while the other faces a much greater chance of developing serious cardiovascular complications over time. The difference often lies not in the sleeping position itself, but in the health of the heart, blood vessels, and brain. This is why cardiologists pay close attention to the people who already carry risk factors, because small nighttime stresses may have a greater impact on bodies that are already under strain. One of the most important risk factors is high blood pressure, often called the silent killer. High blood pressure can exist for years without causing noticeable symptoms. Many people feel perfectly healthy while their arteries are slowly being damaged. Every heartbeat pushes blood through blood vessels with slightly more force than they were designed to handle. Over time, this constant pressure can make artery walls thicker, less flexible, and more vulnerable to injury. The delicate blood vessels that supply the brain are especially sensitive to these changes. When healthy nighttime blood pressure patterns are disrupted, the cardiovascular system loses one of its valuable opportunities to recover. What makes high blood pressure particularly concerning is that many people do not know they have it. There may be no pain, no dizziness, and no warning signs until significant damage has already occurred. During sleep, individuals with uncontrolled blood pressure may not experience the normal nighttime decrease that helps protect blood vessels. Instead, their arteries continue facing elevated pressure hour after hour. If breathing interruptions or repeated awakenings are also present, temporary spikes in blood pressure may place even greater stress on an already vulnerable circulatory system. Another condition that deserves careful attention is atrial fibrillation, often shortened to AFib. This is a type of irregular heartbeat in which the upper chambers of the heart no longer contract in a smooth, coordinated rhythm. Instead, they quiver rapidly and inefficiently. Blood may begin to pool inside parts of the heart rather than flowing normally. When blood remains still for too long, small clots can sometimes form. If one of these clots travels through the bloodstream and reaches the brain, it can block an artery and cause an ischemic stroke. Many people with atrial fibrillation do not experience obvious symptoms. Some notice occasional palpitations or fatigue, while others discover the condition only during a routine medical examination. Researchers have also observed a close relationship between sleep disorders and atrial fibrillation. Repeated drops in oxygen levels, sudden increases in blood pressure, and frequent activation of stress hormones during sleep may place additional strain on the heart's electrical system. Although sleeping position alone does not cause atrial fibrillation, improving sleep quality and treating underlying breathing disorders may help reduce some of the stress placed on the cardiovascular system. Obesity is another factor that can quietly increase stroke risk through several different pathways. Carrying excess body weight places greater demands on nearly every organ. The heart must pump harder to circulate blood throughout a larger body. Blood pressure often rises. Blood sugar regulation becomes more difficult. Cholesterol levels may become unhealthy. Fat tissue around the neck can also narrow the airway, increasing the likelihood of obstructive sleep apnea. These interconnected effects create a situation where multiple small problems reinforce one another. Rather than acting independently, they combine to increase overall cardiovascular risk. Diabetes adds another layer of complexity. Healthy blood vessels rely on a delicate inner lining that helps regulate circulation and prevents unwanted clot formation. Persistently high blood sugar can gradually damage this protective lining. Small blood vessels may become less efficient, while larger arteries become more vulnerable to plaque buildup. Diabetes also increases inflammation throughout the body and may affect nerves that help regulate heart rate and blood pressure. During sleep, these changes can reduce the body's ability to respond smoothly to fluctuations in oxygen levels or circulation. Age itself is another important consideration. As people grow older, natural changes occur throughout the cardiovascular system. Blood vessels gradually become less elastic. The heart may respond differently to physical stress. The nervous system becomes slightly slower at adjusting blood pressure during changes in posture. These are normal aspects of aging, but they also mean that older adults may have less physiological reserve when additional stressors appear. This does not mean aging automatically leads to stroke. Many older adults maintain excellent cardiovascular health through healthy habits and proper medical care. However, age often increases the importance of identifying and managing other risk factors early. A previous stroke or transient ischemic attack, sometimes called a mini-stroke, also changes the picture significantly. These events indicate that the brain has already experienced an interruption in blood flow. Individuals who have had one stroke face a higher risk of another unless underlying causes are identified and treated. For these individuals, maintaining healthy blood pressure, controlling cholesterol, managing blood sugar, improving sleep quality, and following prescribed medical treatment become especially important. Even seemingly minor factors that disturb oxygen delivery or increase cardiovascular stress deserve careful attention. Sleep apnea deserves special mention because it often remains undiagnosed for years. Many people believe loud snoring is simply an inconvenience rather than a medical issue. In reality, chronic loud snoring accompanied by pauses in breathing, gasping, or excessive daytime sleepiness may indicate repeated nighttime airway obstruction. These interruptions reduce oxygen levels, activate stress responses, increase blood pressure, and disturb the body's normal restorative sleep cycles. Untreated sleep apnea has been associated with higher risks of hypertension, heart disease, irregular heart rhythms, and stroke. Fortunately, effective treatments are available once the condition is recognized. Poor circulation also contributes to cardiovascular vulnerability. Healthy arteries should remain flexible enough to deliver oxygen-rich blood efficiently throughout the body. Conditions such as peripheral artery disease, long-standing smoking, uncontrolled cholesterol, and chronic inflammation may gradually reduce this flexibility. Plaque buildup narrows arteries, making it more difficult for blood to reach tissues during times of increased demand. If circulation to the brain becomes compromised by a blockage, even briefly, the consequences can be severe. Lifestyle choices influence all of these medical conditions in powerful ways. Physical inactivity weakens cardiovascular fitness and contributes to weight gain. Diets rich in excess sodium, added sugars, and unhealthy fats may increase blood pressure and cholesterol over time. Smoking damages blood vessel walls directly while reducing oxygen delivery throughout the body. Excessive alcohol consumption can raise blood pressure and increase the risk of irregular heart rhythms. Chronic stress affects hormone levels, sleep quality, and inflammation, creating additional strain on the cardiovascular system. One of the most remarkable discoveries in modern medicine is that risk factors rarely act alone. Instead, they interact like pieces of a complex puzzle. A person with mild high blood pressure may remain healthy for years. Another person with mild sleep apnea may also experience few immediate problems. But when high blood pressure, diabetes, obesity, poor sleep, smoking, and aging occur together, their combined effects become far greater than the simple sum of each individual factor. Each condition amplifies the others, gradually increasing stress on the heart, blood vessels, and brain. This understanding has transformed the way cardiologists think about prevention. Rather than searching for one single cause of stroke, they evaluate the entire cardiovascular picture. They consider blood pressure, heart rhythm, cholesterol levels, blood sugar control, breathing during sleep, body weight, family history, physical activity, nutrition, medications, and overall quality of sleep. Every factor provides another clue about how well the body is protecting its most vital organs during both waking hours and the quiet hours of the night, when countless invisible biological processes continue working together to preserve the delicate balance between the heart, the brain, and every breath that sustains them. When people learn that sleep can influence the health of the heart and brain, their first reaction is often to search for one perfect sleeping position. It is a natural response because simple solutions are comforting. But the human body rarely depends on a single habit. Cardiologists often emphasize that protecting the brain during sleep is not about chasing one magical posture. It is about creating an environment where the cardiovascular system can work efficiently. Breathing remains steady, blood pressure stays well controlled, and the body is allowed to perform the repair processes that healthy sleep was designed to support. One of the most valuable habits begins long before the head touches the pillow. A consistent sleep schedule helps regulate the body's internal clock, also known as the circadian rhythm. This biological clock influences nearly every organ, including the heart, blood vessels, hormone production, and brain activity. Going to bed and waking up at roughly the same time each day allows these systems to operate with greater stability. Irregular sleep patterns can confuse the body's natural timing, affecting blood pressure regulation, metabolism, and the quality of restorative sleep. Even an extra hour or two of inconsistency every night can gradually disrupt this delicate rhythm over time. The sleeping environment also plays a surprisingly important role. A quiet, dark, and comfortably cool room encourages deeper stages of sleep, allowing the brain and cardiovascular system to spend more time in their restorative cycles. Bright lights, loud noises, or frequent interruptions may not fully awaken a person, but they can fragment sleep enough to reduce its quality. The body may move repeatedly between lighter stages of sleep instead of reaching the deeper phases where many important repair processes occur. Creating a peaceful sleeping environment is a simple step that supports healthy circulation without requiring any special equipment. Breathing deserves equal attention because every breath represents a fresh supply of oxygen for the brain. Many people breathe naturally and efficiently throughout the night without giving it a second thought. Others may experience chronic nasal congestion caused by allergies, sinus problems, or structural issues inside the nose. Difficulty breathing through the nose may encourage mouth breathing, louder snoring, or more disturbed sleep. Addressing persistent nasal blockage through appropriate medical evaluation can improve airflow and help maintain more stable oxygen levels during the night. Maintaining a healthy body weight is another practical strategy supported by decades of cardiovascular research. Excess weight places additional demands on the heart while increasing the likelihood of high blood pressure, diabetes, elevated cholesterol, and obstructive sleep apnea. Fat deposits around the neck may narrow the airway, making breathing interruptions during sleep more likely. Even modest weight reduction can improve breathing, reduce blood pressure, and decrease strain on the cardiovascular system. These improvements often occur gradually, reflecting the remarkable ability of the body to respond positively when given healthier conditions. Regular physical activity contributes to healthier sleep in several interconnected ways. Exercise strengthens the heart, improves circulation, helps regulate blood pressure, supports healthy blood sugar levels, and reduces stress. People who remain physically active often experience deeper, more refreshing sleep than those who spend most of the day inactive. This does not necessarily require intense athletic training. Simple activities such as walking, cycling, swimming, or gentle strength exercises performed consistently can produce meaningful cardiovascular benefits. The goal is not perfection but regular movement that supports the body's natural biological functions. Nutrition also influences what happens during the night. Meals rich in vegetables, fruits, whole grains, lean proteins, healthy fats, and adequate hydration provide the nutrients needed to maintain healthy blood vessels and support normal heart function. Excessive salt intake may contribute to elevated blood pressure, while diets high in added sugars and heavily processed foods can negatively affect blood sugar control and inflammation. Heavy meals eaten immediately before bedtime may also interfere with comfortable sleep, particularly in individuals prone to acid reflux or indigestion. Giving the digestive system enough time before lying down often allows the body to transition into sleep more comfortably. Alcohol deserves careful consideration because its effects on sleep are frequently misunderstood. Some people believe alcohol helps them sleep because it creates feelings of relaxation or drowsiness. While it may shorten the time required to fall asleep, alcohol often disrupts the later stages of sleep. It can increase snoring, worsen obstructive sleep apnea, reduce sleep quality, and interfere with the body's normal cycles of restoration. As alcohol is metabolized during the night, sleep may become lighter and more fragmented, preventing the cardiovascular system from enjoying the stable conditions it needs for recovery. Smoking affects the cardiovascular system in numerous harmful ways that continue during sleep. Chemicals found in tobacco damage the inner lining of blood vessels, promote inflammation, reduce oxygen delivery, and increase the likelihood of blood clot formation. Nicotine also stimulates the nervous system, raising heart rate and blood pressure. Although these effects occur throughout the day, they influence nighttime circulation as well. Reducing or eliminating tobacco exposure remains one of the most effective steps for protecting both heart and brain health over the long term. The choice of pillow and mattress may seem unrelated to stroke prevention, yet comfort influences sleep quality more than many people realize. A supportive pillow helps keep the head and neck in a comfortable position, reducing unnecessary muscle strain and allowing easier breathing. An overly high or excessively flat pillow may place the neck in an awkward position, making sleep less comfortable. Similarly, a mattress that provides appropriate support encourages better posture and reduces frequent awakenings caused by discomfort. While these factors do not directly prevent stroke, they contribute to uninterrupted, restorative sleep that benefits overall cardiovascular health. For individuals who snore loudly or suspect breathing interruptions during sleep, seeking proper medical evaluation can be especially important. Sleep studies allow specialists to monitor breathing patterns, oxygen levels, heart rhythm, and brain activity throughout the night. These evaluations can identify conditions such as obstructive sleep apnea that might otherwise remain hidden for years. Effective treatments are available, and many people experience significant improvements in daytime energy, blood pressure control, and overall well-being once these disorders are recognized and managed appropriately. Monitoring blood pressure regularly is another simple but powerful habit. High blood pressure often develops silently, producing no obvious symptoms until serious complications arise. Home blood pressure monitors have made it easier than ever for individuals to track their readings between medical visits. Consistent monitoring helps identify patterns early, allowing healthcare professionals to recommend lifestyle changes or medications before long-term damage occurs. Maintaining blood pressure within healthy ranges remains one of the strongest protective measures against stroke. Learning to recognize the warning signs of stroke is equally important because rapid treatment can dramatically improve outcomes. Sudden weakness or numbness on one side of the body, difficulty speaking or understanding speech, sudden confusion, loss of balance, severe dizziness, blurred vision, or an intense headache unlike previous headaches should never be ignored. These symptoms require immediate emergency medical attention. Every minute matters because brain cells depend on a continuous supply of oxygen-rich blood, and prompt treatment can help preserve healthy brain tissue. Stress management also influences nighttime cardiovascular health. Chronic emotional stress keeps the body in a state of heightened alertness, increasing stress hormone levels and making restful sleep more difficult. Relaxation techniques, quiet reading, gentle stretching, breathing exercises, mindfulness practices, or simply establishing a calming bedtime routine may help the nervous system transition from the demands of the day into the restorative state needed for healthy sleep. This shift allows heart rate and blood pressure to settle naturally as the body prepares for several hours of recovery. Perhaps the most reassuring message from modern cardiovascular science is that meaningful protection does not depend on dramatic changes made overnight. Small, consistent habits practiced day after day gradually strengthen the body's natural defenses. Healthy sleep, balanced nutrition, regular movement, controlled blood pressure, effective breathing, avoidance of tobacco, moderation with alcohol, and timely medical care work together like individual threads woven into a much stronger fabric, quietly supporting the heart and brain through every peaceful night and preparing the body to greet each new morning with greater resilience, steadier circulation, and a healthier foundation for the years ahead. It is comforting to believe that one simple change can completely protect us from a serious illness. If avoiding a single sleeping position could eliminate the risk of stroke, the answer would be wonderfully straightforward. But the human body tells a far more fascinating story. Every heartbeat, every breath, every meal, every hour of sleep, every step we take, and every choice we make becomes part of a much larger picture. Cardiologists often remind us that stroke is rarely the result of one isolated event. It is usually the outcome of many biological processes interacting over months, years, and sometimes decades. Understanding this bigger picture allows us to replace fear with knowledge and focus our attention on the habits that truly matter. The brain is one of the most remarkable organs in the human body. Although it weighs only a small fraction of our total body weight, it depends on an extraordinary network of blood vessels that deliver oxygen and nutrients every second of every day. These vessels must remain open, flexible, and healthy despite constantly changing blood pressure, physical activity, emotional stress, and countless other challenges. Protecting this delicate network requires much more than choosing a comfortable sleeping position. It requires supporting the entire cardiovascular system that makes healthy brain function possible. One of the strongest foundations of stroke prevention is controlling blood pressure. Medical researchers consistently identify high blood pressure as one of the leading risk factors for both ischemic and hemorrhagic strokes. Elevated pressure places continuous stress on artery walls, gradually weakening them and making them more vulnerable to narrowing, blockage, or rupture. The encouraging news is that blood pressure often responds positively to healthy lifestyle changes and, when necessary, appropriate medical treatment. Regular monitoring allows problems to be identified before they produce noticeable symptoms, giving people an opportunity to protect their arteries long before serious damage develops. Healthy nutrition provides another powerful layer of protection. Every meal becomes an opportunity to nourish or burden the cardiovascular system. Diets rich in colorful vegetables, fruits, whole grains, legumes, nuts, lean proteins, and healthy fats provide vitamins, minerals, fiber, and natural compounds that support healthy blood vessels. These foods help maintain balanced cholesterol levels, support healthy blood sugar regulation, and reduce chronic inflammation. At the same time, limiting excessive amounts of highly processed foods, added sugars, unhealthy fats, and excessive sodium can reduce unnecessary stress on the heart and arteries. Nutrition is not about perfection or strict rules but about consistently giving the body the building blocks it needs to function well. Physical activity works alongside nutrition in remarkable ways. The human body evolved to move, and nearly every organ benefits from regular movement. Exercise strengthens the heart muscle, improves circulation, enhances insulin sensitivity, supports healthy body weight, and helps regulate blood pressure. It also encourages the release of natural chemicals that improve mood and reduce stress. Importantly, regular activity does not always mean intense workouts or hours spent in a gym. Walking, cycling, swimming, gardening, dancing, or any enjoyable form of movement performed consistently can produce meaningful cardiovascular benefits. Small daily actions often become powerful investments in long-term health. Sleep itself deserves attention beyond simply discussing body position. The quality, duration, and consistency of sleep all influence cardiovascular health. Adults who regularly experience poor quality sleep may face higher risks of high blood pressure, obesity, diabetes, depression, and heart disease. During healthy sleep, the body performs countless repair processes that help maintain balance throughout multiple organ systems. Protecting sleep means creating regular routines, limiting unnecessary disruptions, and recognizing when persistent sleep problems deserve professional evaluation. Healthy sleep is not a luxury. It is one of the body's essential biological needs. Managing stress represents another important piece of the puzzle. Modern life exposes many people to continuous emotional pressure through work, financial concerns, family responsibilities, or unexpected life events. While temporary stress is a normal part of being human, chronic stress can keep the nervous system in a prolonged state of activation. Stress hormones remain elevated, heart rate may stay higher than necessary, blood pressure can increase, and sleep quality often suffers. Over time, these changes may contribute to cardiovascular strain. Finding healthy ways to manage stress through relaxation, meaningful relationships, enjoyable hobbies, physical activity, or mindfulness supports not only emotional well-being but also heart and brain health. Regular medical care plays a role that should never be underestimated. Many conditions associated with stroke develop quietly. High blood pressure, elevated cholesterol, diabetes, irregular heart rhythms, and early vascular disease often produce few symptoms during their initial stages. Routine medical examinations allow these conditions to be detected before complications arise. Blood tests, blood pressure measurements, heart rhythm assessments, and discussions with healthcare professionals provide valuable information that cannot be obtained through symptoms alone. Preventive care focuses on preserving health rather than simply treating illness after it appears. Medications also deserve thoughtful consideration. Some individuals require medicines to control blood pressure, lower cholesterol, regulate heart rhythm, or reduce blood clot formation. These treatments are carefully selected based on each person's individual health profile. Stopping prescribed medication without medical advice may allow important risk factors to return unnoticed. Consistent communication with healthcare providers helps ensure that treatments continue providing the intended protection while allowing adjustments whenever necessary. One of the most encouraging discoveries in modern medicine is that the body often responds positively to healthy changes regardless of age. While younger adults certainly benefit from preventive habits, older adults can also experience meaningful improvements in blood pressure, cholesterol, blood sugar control, cardiovascular fitness, and overall quality of life after adopting healthier routines. The human body retains an impressive capacity for adaptation. Every healthy meal, every walk, every restful night of sleep, and every positive choice contributes to supporting that natural resilience. Family history sometimes raises understandable concerns. Having close relatives who experienced stroke or heart disease may increase personal risk. But genetics do not determine destiny on their own. Genes influence susceptibility, yet lifestyle choices interact with those inherited tendencies throughout life. Many individuals with a strong family history remain healthy because they actively manage controllable risk factors, while others with little family history may develop cardiovascular disease due to unhealthy habits. Understanding family history should encourage awareness rather than fear, providing motivation to focus on the factors that remain within personal control. Another valuable lesson emerging from decades of cardiovascular research is that prevention works best when viewed as a lifelong journey rather than a short-term project. Healthy habits are most effective when they become ordinary parts of daily living instead of temporary responses to frightening headlines. The goal is not to eliminate every possible risk, something no human being can achieve, but to steadily improve the conditions that allow the heart, blood vessels, and brain to function at their best. Scientific knowledge continues to evolve. Researchers around the world constantly investigate new questions about sleep, circulation, inflammation, genetics, brain health, and aging. As new evidence emerges, recommendations become more refined and more personalized. This ongoing process reminds us that medicine is built on careful observation, continuous learning, and a willingness to improve our understanding as better evidence becomes available. Remaining curious, informed, and open to reliable medical guidance is one of the most valuable habits anyone can develop. Perhaps the most meaningful perspective is that our health is shaped not by one dramatic decision but by thousands of ordinary moments repeated throughout life. The glass of water instead of a sugary drink, the evening walk instead of another hour of sitting, the decision to keep a medical appointment, the commitment to take prescribed medication, the effort to improve sleep, the willingness to stop smoking, the choice to prepare a balanced meal, and the habit of listening to the body's warning signs all become quiet acts of care. These seemingly small actions combine day after day, strengthening the heart that tirelessly pumps through every hour, protecting the blood vessels that nourish every organ, and supporting the remarkable brain that allows us to think, remember, dream, and experience the extraordinary gift of another healthy day. This content is intended for educational and informational purposes only and should not be considered medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Scientific research continues to evolve, and individual health needs vary. If you have symptoms such as sudden weakness, numbness, difficulty speaking, severe dizziness, chest pain, or if you have concerns about your risk of stroke or heart disease, seek immediate medical attention and consult a qualified healthcare professional for personalized guidance.